Going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Tsukasa. I hope you all miss me because I definitely miss you. Appreciate all the well wishes. You know, had some family emergency to take care of last week, so that was where my time was being occupied at. But we are here, we are back. I know a lot of people have been reaching out to me about this Joe Biden nonsense. I don't know why y'all want my opinion so bad. You know exactly what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Before we get started, of course, I want to ask you all to go make sure to follow us and subscribe to us on Rockfin, ROKFIN.com. It's an open source co-op platform where they don't do this little thing we know on YouTube as censorship. Okay, all right. So also want to show off my new fancy tank top. Yeah, you see that? So I got that from One Nation. Many of you have probably seen me wear One Nation hats and tank tops and shirts like that in the past. This is actually my favorite tank top that they've sent me so far. I've been very blessed to have several different designers and clothing lines send me clothes, but so far, honestly, One Nation has probably been my favorite. They've said the best stuff to me, and those are the people. Whenever I wear their clothes out in public, everyone always asks me about One Nation stuff whenever I wear it, like more than any other brand. So hold on, let me make sure I'm giving y'all the right website. I know it's not a .com website. So if you want this tank top or any of my dad hats that I be wearing, clothing, I'm gonna tell you right now what it's called. It's, make sure I'm not crazy. Oh man, there's like 50 different One Nation websites. Make sure you don't go to the super conservative one. There's a lot. Man, how many One Nations are there? Hold on, I'm gonna tell you. Give me 1 second. That's not it either. Oh, I got their Instagram account. So their Instagram account is onenation.artwear if you have an Instagram, and their website is onentn.com, not to be confused with the thousands of other One Nation websites. They have some dope masks. Like I said, this is my favorite tank top so far. They got dad hats. They have leggings and stuff like that for the ladies. They have women's tank tops. This is a really dope brand overall, to be honest with you. Like I said, I get the most compliments out of all the people who send me clothes and hats and things like that. I get the most compliments for their stuff. Somebody asked me, am I a dad? Yeah, I'm a dad. I'm a fur daddy. What you mean? That's the hardest daddy to be. You ever been a fur daddy? People think that having a 2-year-old is hard. At least your 2-year-old understands what you're saying. He ain't got no excuse not to respond to you. When you got 6 cats and a dog, they just pick and choose when they want to acknowledge you. Like, they know what you're saying, especially with cats, because cats, when they hear you, they move their ear or they'll move their tail. And they will let you know specifically, hey, I'm just not acknowledging you right now. That's a hard thing to deal with when you're a fur daddy, okay? So yes, I'm a daddy. So if you want to send me Father's Day gifts, when that time comes, I'm not going to be upset about it, all right? With that being said, before we get into the first topic, make sure you share this video. Make sure you like this video. We got to talk about Joe Biden's crazy gaffe, if that's what they're calling it anyway, right? We're also going to talk about Hillary Clinton's, whoa, man. She made some comments in her Rachel Maddow interview recently that would make anybody not only raise an eyebrow, but it should have the FBI rolling up to her house right now based on what history has shown us. Now, of course, it's Hillary Clinton, so that's not going to happen. But when you hear the comments, a lot of you are probably going to hit the floor. And finally, we're going to talk about Amy Cooper, whose middle name I've been told her middle name is Karen. That's what I was told. I don't know how factual that is, but let's assume it's fact. I read on the internet. Everybody knows everything you read on the internet is 100% true. Okay. So we're going to talk about that situation and what the outcome has been, which is crazy because it's like the fastest turnaround for accountability that I've ever seen. To be honest with you, I didn't know in situations with white women and black men, like an altercation is there. I did not know white women could ever be held accountable. I'm not even joking. So it's kind of surprising to see how quick it happened. So we're gonna talk about that too. All right. So first topic. I'm not even gonna play the video because y'all know the video. I don't want to get the video demonetized. This video demonetized anyway. Joe Biden told Charlemagne the God, jokingly, that if you are even considering voting for Donald Trump, or more specifically, because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to entrap him with lies, because that's what people will say. I don't want. But what he really said was, if you can't tell the difference between he and Donald Trump by now, then you're not really black. So I have to call my mother, okay? Gotta call my mother. And I gotta get a DNA test. And also I'm gonna call my optometrist and ophthalmologist, because I'm gonna need some new glasses and possibly some LASIK eye surgery. And I need to, because you get checked. Well, I'm retired, right? I'm retired military. You're supposed to get checked for color blindness, and if you're colorblind, you're not supposed to be able to get into the military. But apparently I might be colorblind as well, because I looked at myself this morning, or that morning, I thought I was still black. My mom is black, and so I thought that accounted for something, okay? But apparently, because I am one of those people who absolutely, I could tell the difference between Trump and Joe Biden, but it ain't the way he thinks it is. But either way, the audacity of the caucasity. Oh my God, bro, somebody sent me that clip first thing in the morning whenever it happened. And I didn't open it at first. Do you know why? Because I thought to myself, why is someone sending me some nonsense? Because I know it's Joe Biden, so it's like not totally unbelievable. But come on. I know he's not going to tell Charlemagne the God that, because like it's going to go viral. And that would be dumb. Yeah, so I underestimated the caucasity. Okay, I underestimated it, because then obviously that morning on Twitter I saw it again, and I just slapped myself in the forehead, which is why I'm wearing this headband, so you don't see the hand mark. I slapped myself pretty hard. When he said this though, when I heard it, like, I actually wasn't all that surprised. Y'all have to remember, this is Joe Biden. Joe Biden can't remember when he's in 2020 or whether or not he's in 1940. Okay? So you got to remember, in 1940, a little bit before that, a little bit after, back in the day, in Joe Biden's day, before this world was the racial jungle that Joe Biden, rabbled against, that he just didn't want his kids to grow up in. Feel so bad for Joe Biden and his daughters. Anyway, but back in the day, see, white men were the ones who dictated who was black and who was not black. See, y'all don't know your history. Joe Biden wasn't being racist. He was just exercising his God-given right to tell black people whether or not they're black based on the way they choose to vote. Now, back in the day, if you wanted to vote, and your vote could diametrically sway the outcome of an election, then a lot of the times you were called black, even if you were super, super white, and you were kept from voting. It's a little bit different now, but same concept. No, actually, you still can be kept from voting depending on what district you're in. But it's the same concept, y'all. This isn't new for Joe Biden. He just had a memory lapse where he slips in and out of the 40s, which seems to be every day. Now, in all seriousness, I know that it sounds like a joke, and it is mostly a joke, but it's not really all that much a joke. You have to understand that systemically and institutionally, white people have actually exercised the privilege of dictating who is not black. They've done this with Italians, or I should say this, not necessarily who and who is not black, but who and who is not white. That's probably better to say. They've done this with Italians. They've done this with the Irish, right? They've even done this with Latinos and Hispanic groups. in their own nations. Joe Biden felt okay saying that for the same reason that Joe Biden thinks he deserves, which is somewhere, he's pulling around 88% right now, of the black vote. He thinks he deserves that despite being a literal segregationist. Why would he not think he could say that? Why would he think he would be held accountable for saying that? Is he not a segregationist? Was he not a segregationist before he made that statement? Did the Democratic Party still elevate him? Okay. Was he not a segregationist before that statement and still was receiving 88% of the black vote, predictably anyway? Okay. Is he still celebrated by, I won't even say celebrated, but tolerated by Barack Obama and associated with the first black president, and was even attached to the first black president specifically because of his segregationist past to balance out the ticket? Okay, that was before he said that statement. Okay, right. Just want to make sure. Did he not win like 90-something% of the black vote prior to making that statement in the Democratic primary? Right? They just gave him the vote. I know there's the election rigging and all that good stuff. That's a different topic. But for the sake of the argument, let's just assume that he did, because he was going to still win a good portion of it. Now it's still too damn much. So why? You were talking, listen, everybody, you're literally looking at the Barry Goldwater of the Democratic Party. For those of you who don't know, Barry Goldwater ran on bringing back segregation, or maintaining it, I should say. Hillary Clinton was a Goldwater girl. This is a big thing in 2016 everybody knows about. But this is who Joe Biden is. This is literally the equivalent of Barry Goldwater making the decision, you know what? I think I want to be president, so I'm not racist anymore, everybody. Well, do you apologize for the policies that you tried to pass? No, not really. Well, do you apologize for the policy that was literally targeting black people? No, not really. Do you apologize for any of the racist things you've ever done? Listen, that's neither here nor there. The Democratic Party says I'm not racist and I'm the best candidate to beat Donald Trump, and therefore it's all good. But here's the saddest part. Black people still gonna vote for him. I saw older black people making excuses for him all up and down Facebook. I had to go to Facebook because I don't go to Twitter because I don't there's a bunch of bots on there. You know, they astroturf the hell out of both Facebook and Twitter, but it's easier for me to tell if you're a bot on Facebook. And basically, the older black people are like, oh man, y'all are being too sensitive. Man, Trump is crazy. And I always ask them, you know what? That's interesting that y'all say that. So let's put this theory to the test. What is the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump? Always silence, insults, or some emotional reactionism that doesn't really give me any policy differences between the two. And then you've even gotten to the point where some people are trying to justify or defend the 94 crime bill because they know that is coming. That attack, I mean, it's already came. Trump has already released an ad about it. It was several ads, actually. But more recently, he released a really impactful ad about Joe Biden's treatment of black people and targeting of black people via the 94 crime bill. So they know it's coming. And people have even, because they have literally, they don't know the difference between Biden and Trump. You can make an argument for the Supreme Court. It's not a good argument. I can destroy it in a second. But either way, you can make an argument for the Supreme Court. But that's not an argument for Joe Biden. That's an argument for the Supreme Court. You can even make an argument for the administration, which would be the horrible argument to make considering that Citigroup picked Obama's administration and Obama's brain was perfectly intact. So who do you think is going to be running Joe Biden's administration? So you're not, but even in that case, you wouldn't be making an argument for Biden. You'd be making an argument for his administration. You could even say that you need him to galvanize people in order to go and vote Democrats into the House and the Senate. And that's not making an argument for Biden. That's making an argument for Congress. The only argument that is ever made for Biden is actually made for someone else and against Trump, or usually both. But no one can actually make an argument defending Joe Biden. And for black people, I just gotta say, like, I'm very, very tolerant of the Obama love. I really am. I'm too damn tolerant of the Obama love, but I get how it could feel being 55, 60, 65 years old, and you never thought you were going to see a black president in your damn lifetime, and you finally get one, so you might be a little bit starry-eyed. I understand it. I really do. I don't agree with it. Obviously, you know how I feel about Obama, but I understand it. But the whole reason you were worried that you were never going to get your first Obama is because of people like the first Joe Bidens. People like Joe Biden, people like Hillary Clinton, people like Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah, I know what he signed, but we know who Lyndon B. Johnson was. You know who Joe Biden is, because it's not the same. Maybe months ago you might not have been as privy to what Joe Biden was known for, which is why he's continued to take losses up until this point, and he's going to take another one in November. You might not have known because you've been starry-eyed over Obama, and that's what you associated Barack Obama's camp or Joe Biden with, right? You associated him with the first black president. Okay, cool. That has changed. Clearly, he's shown who he is. His comments are out there. There's no excuse for you to not know what the 94 crime bill is, what it does, and most importantly, the clear intentionality behind it. And you don't have to guess, because their words, their speeches, their comments, they're all out there. They knew who they were targeting. The demographic who can't afford lawyers so it won't be a burden on the system to get them in jail. The demographic who can't afford to argue with cops because it's either you go to jail or you're going to get shot, one of the two. They knew they were targeting. Joe Biden was in charge, was one of the leaders behind this. So you have no excuse. And at this point, it's embarrassing. You're arguing for crumbs, or you're one of the bourgeoisie black people who this election doesn't really affect you either way. But you can't go up to your liberal, because if you're a bourgeoisie black person, unless you're in specific pockets of the country, you're generally hanging out with other elitist liberal white people. And you don't want to be that elitist black person who is like, y'all know Joe Biden is just as bad, right? But that's embarrassing. That is despicable, honestly. If you know better, you should absolutely be doing better. And I know we want to laugh and point out the obvious that Joe Biden's being Joe Biden, but that's the funniest part, right? We're pointing out the obvious. Joe Biden is just being Joe Biden. But how far do you think his black vote will dip? Not far enough. I mean, once again, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this over and over again, but I will anyway. Literal segregationist. I tried, actually, I believe it or not, I tried to find out if Trump himself was a net negative for the black community in any significant or unique way, and the facts show that he wasn't. Now, he was a net negative for the Arab and Muslim communities. He was a net negative for Central and South American community. Well, it depends on your perspective. He's had a lot of failed coup attempts, so I don't know if you consider that a net negative or just a push. But I feel like in this country itself, if we're not like including what's going on in their countries, he was a net negative for the Central and South American communities. However, for black people, because of his weird and incessant need to want to be accepted by us, don't ask me why, I can't explain it, but he hasn't been a net negative to the black community specifically. And that would be projection and gaslighting if I was going to tell you that he has been a net negative. It just is not true. Just like I wouldn't want someone to pretend as if like, so if somebody tried to pretend like what Joe Biden said yesterday or a couple of days ago was like, yeah, man, the white Latino community or the Arab community should be just as upset, because that's basically saying, he's saying that about all of us. If I'm not, no, that's not, no, it's specifically about us and our issues. And don't minimize it or try to conflate something that has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with you. But Trump's vitriol, for the most part, and his policies, for the most part, never really targeted black people. Joe Biden is, for the 50,000th time, a literal segregationist. And you don't have to wonder who he was targeting. Look at the majority population of private prisons from the, hell, you can really go before the 90s, but from the 90s, when Joe Biden was in office, up until this point. Over 90%, at one point close to 94, 95% black occupancy. When neighborhoods were over-policed, black neighborhoods and black communities. What drugs were criminalized, the drugs that were not associated with white people. Let me just put it like that. Remember when Cheech and Chong do a movie about marijuana, oh, it's cool, it's hippies, it's da-da-da-da. Black people smoke marijuana or sell marijuana or engage in any type of marijuana-esque activities. It's seen as a gangster movie. It's it's portrayed differently. And we are treated differently by extension, and Joe Biden is a large reason that is. Not only was he a net negative on the black community for his entire career, but he's unapologetic about it. He's unapologetic about it. So what he said was not a surprise to me. And I know some people were considering it a gaffe. I know some people were like, oh, he was just joking. No, he was serious. He really feels like that. He really believed, like, he feels entitled to dictate. The phrase, I know that the right has co-opted it, but it is a thing. Being on the Democratic plantation. And I was talking to Garland Nixon about that this morning on Fault Lines. But being part of the Democratic plantation is a thing. And Lee Stranahan, who's actually the conservative, made a good point. He was like, Joe Biden is a literal cracker. In other words, if you have a group of slaves on the plantation and two slaves try to escape or two slaves try to get out of their work, you punish all of them, and you make an example out of those two slaves. Why? Because you don't get to choose when you do and do not leave the plantation. You don't get to choose whether or not I'm your favorite master. You know what? I don't like you, master. I think I'm going to go explore other plantations. Really want to see my options here. I feel like I haven't been treated as an equitable partner in this cotton picking relationship. And that's not how it works. It's, oh, you forgot your place, boy. And you remind them. And the way you remind them has manifested differently over the years, right? We're going to explore like another example of how it manifests in 2020 later on in the show. But nonetheless, it is still a reminder. And what Joe Biden was trying to say, and what he meant, was that we will do our best to ensure that you are blacklisted from the black community if you even think of advocating for anyone who is not Joe Biden. Because this is a Democratic plantation and you don't get to choose whether or not you're a slave. So with that being said, I want to move on to the next topic. This story is wild. I couldn't believe it. Rachel Maddow got an exclusive interview with Hillary Clinton. And I mean, bro, when you put Rachel Maddow and Hillary Clinton in the same room, it's like putting Alex Jones in a room with, I guess, anybody else. The conspiracy theories are going to run wild. I mean, y'all remember like whenever Rachel Maddow literally said that Trump was helping out North Korea because it would benefit Russia, and it was actually Putin ordering Trump to try to broker peace with North Korea and denuclearize the peninsula. Because everybody knows you achieve strength through harsh and swift peace. But that's what she was trying to sell. So this is Rachel Maddow. This is the conspiracy theorist. You know, it's funny because y'all remember that Huffington Post article I had written about me, where they listed a bunch of conspiracy theories that I said about controversial issues. And then if you click on the video, I didn't say anything like that in any of the videos. But they link them because if you link videos in a fake article, then it makes it look legitimate. And yet we have people like Rachel Maddow getting paid millions of dollars to be a professional conspiracy theorist for Democrats. Interesting. But I digress. We're going to hear Hillary Clinton's suggestion for the 2020 election. Let's check it out.
Republicans look at the Trump White House and say, well, you know, the Russians probably did help them, you know, to whatever extent we may not yet know. So we're not going to go there. We're going to do what they tell us. Imagine, Rachel, that you had one of the Democratic nominees for 2020 on your show. Mm-hmm. And that person said, you know, the only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's right. And not only that, China, if you're listening, why don't you get Trump's tax returns? I'm sure our media would richly reward you. Now, according to the Mueller report, that is not conspiracy because it's done right out in the open. So if after this hypothetical Democratic candidate says this on your show, within hours, all of a sudden the IRS offices are bombarded with incredibly sophisticated cyber tools looking for Trump's tax returns, and then extracts them and then passes them to whatever the new WikiLeaks happens to be, and they start being unraveled and disclosed, nothing wrong with that.
Listen, y'all. Now, Hillary Clinton says a lot of wild stuff a lot. I can't remember if this happened 2 years ago or recently. I actually think it happened recently. But we had to talk about this because of everything that's going on with China, because of everything that's going on with, or what was, actually, no, it's kind of resurfaced with Russiagate, because of everything that's going on with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, because of the allegations that have been lobbed against Donald Trump and his administration, because of everything that's going on with Michael Flynn, because of everything that's going on with Obamagate. Do you understand that she just asked the Chinese government to interfere with the 2020 elections, the elections that are obviously upon us? And if she said it recently, which it was recent enough, definitely, I don't understand how she's not in jail. I don't understand how there's not a special counsel for Hillary Clinton at that point. And I don't understand how Rachel Maddow has a job, because she just said we are officially calling on China to interfere with our elections. And it's funny because Hillary Clinton got the audacity to talk about somebody's financials. Girl, don't even go there. But what I find honestly terrifying about this isn't like she can cough. I mean, no, she can't do that. She legally can't do it. She shouldn't be able to do it. But for a former Secretary of State to get up there and call for Russian interference, and it's just kind of like, whatever, it's cool. People are just like, okay, cool. It's Hillary Clinton. That Hillary, she's just always playing around. She's so rambunctious. Get up there and say everything. That's our Hillary. But then this same Rachel Maddow, funny enough, gets up there and says, can you believe we have a president sitting in office who openly courted Russian interference? Remember that? She said that. This was a thing. They were claiming that Trump openly courted Russian interference. And we fast forward because this is obviously after the Mueller report. And I'm like, when I hear this clip, I'm like, are you kidding me? How is the FBI not in front of her house right now? How's the CIA not in front of her house right now? How? That was Trump. Well, you don't have to guess. There'd be a whole investigation into it. Rightfully so, by the way. If that was you or I, we'd be on trial for treason. They called Martin Luther King a communist because he was anti-capitalist. Imagine what they'd do to you or I if we had openly called for something like that. Is mind-blowing. And yet she's still not in jail. Let me get to some of the super chats. Big Baby Zubas. I voted for John Kerry. Then my uncle said, you're not black, so you must be gay. The point being, only whites vote Republican, and I should too. Oh, I'm confused now. John Kerry is not Republican. I mean, okay, you know what I mean. He is what he is, but he's technically a Democrat. So I am confused. But there is that type of stigma in families about how you should and should not vote based off of your ethnic background. Baldus Mosley, thank you very much. I 100% agree with you there. Everybody should hit that like button. If you just came in, make sure you hit that like button and share the video. Bethlehem, what's up? The no vote for Joe is a vote for Trump is what's driving me crazy from my circle. When are black people going to start demanding their vote and not just waste it? This immigrant isn't wasting votes. I 100% agree with you. Yeah, it is a little bit mind-boggling because that's just actually not how the math works. To be honest with you, especially if you're out in California, that's definitely not how the math works. If any, and quite honestly, black people could probably not vote at all, and Biden would still win that state. So technically, it's not true. Situationally, technically, it's a no vote for Biden is not technically a vote for Trump. It's just not a vote for Biden. And there are a lot of the reason that it is not a vote for Trump is because not voting for Biden actually has a lot of implications on every other race, ballot initiatives. Not voting for Trump, same thing. It doesn't necessarily mean a vote for Biden or his policies, because depending on what's going on in your state, the outcome could be affected by who does and does not vote for the president or believes in that particular president's policies, but believes in this particular congressional candidate or this particular city council candidate. So me not voting for Biden, I can make the argument it's not a vote for Trump. It's just a vote to make sure that these third party options that I like actually have a chance of winning. I mean, that's what I would tell them. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's just a vote for third parties. So, but anyway, I do want to get back to this Hillary Clinton clip. It what's crazy too is she like straight up lies about the Mueller report too, which was like super weird. She just lied about it. We know, right? We know that Trump and his administration are working with Russia. So the Mueller report said this, except for the Mueller report didn't say that at all. Or else Trump would be probably in jail and being tried for treason. The Mueller report was such an abysmal failure that they couldn't even include it in the articles of impeachment. They tried to talk about it. Adam Schiff tried to talk about it, but that's what he does. He's a professional propagandist. I like how Ron Placone referred to him. He says he's basically a failed actor who just jumps in front of the camera anytime he can to live out his dreams of a failed career that he never got. But they couldn't even put anything about the Mueller report, or excuse me, Russiagate specifically, in the articles of impeachment. Y'all had to pretend like you were impeaching him on Russiagate because you had nothing, which is what everybody who was paying attention realized. Whether you were leftist or on the right, you knew it was BS. It was a deflection. But Hillary Clinton once again sits up there and lies. You ask a foreign government to interfere in our elections. You lie about what was in a report that, well, you know, even the redacted report. You can go and see everything and prove, like, and disprove everything that you just said immediately. Like, how is she not in jail? How was it? And what was crazy about it is, like, I genuinely can't remember if this was like maybe within like the last 3 or 4 months she said this, or within, you know, because DC itself, I don't know if y'all know, it's like basically open. You can be in studio, and I can't remember where Rachel Maddow records from. So she could have genuinely said this recently. But either way, she said it recently enough. And the fact that I can't remember when she said it is probably due to the fact that it barely got any coverage. You catch my point? I was gonna go look it up, but I'm like, I'm not gonna look up when it is, because the point is, I follow the news all the time, and I genuinely cannot remember when she said this, when it was covered to the degree that it should have been covered, and what was the excuse for her not being in jail. What is the excuse for her not being in jail for this? What is the excuse for, if Trump started an open investigation on Hillary Clinton because of these comments? I mean, he's already, technically the FBI is in the middle of an investigation for the Clinton Foundation. But if he openly investigated Hillary Clinton over these comments, I vote for him. That's how much disdain I have for this woman. And the elites like her who are constantly getting away with literal treason. There is no other way to describe what Hillary Clinton tried to do. She tried to commit treason by asking China to assist in a soft coup. An informational coup, as it were. Are we kidding? Like, if Trump was the guy that he says they were, he would have been started an investigation into this. Part of me understands why he wouldn't. Because, I mean, look, he worked with Ukraine on an investigation that they actually started into Joe Biden, his son, Burisma, and all the other corruption that was going on within their government. And they tried to impeach him for it. So I understand why he wouldn't want to deal with this. But at the same damn time, bro, if you start an open investigation into this and just ran this clip over and over and over and over and over again, I vote for you. And in most of the country, who is basically in unanimous agreement that Hillary Clinton sucks, most of the country would probably vote for you. Just to prove that at some point, somebody in the elitist class can be held accountable. But something has to be done about this type of nonsense. Because it isn't just, this is bigger than Hillary. This is even bigger than her comments here, honestly. This was a flex. This was a, watch what I can do. I can literally do the exact thing and ask for China to do the exact thing I accused Trump and Russia of, and I will get the Democratic Party to cheer for me while I do it. After I just try to convince America that you should impeach Trump for doing what I just said and just did. That was the most garbage piece of I've seen a lot of garbage propaganda. I play almost every Call of Duty game. I've seen a lot of garbage propaganda. That was trash. I've always been a proponent. If you want to beat Donald Trump, I'm all for it. Beat him at the ballot box. Because that's how he beat y'all asses. If I'm being honest. He beat y'all at the ballot box and it wasn't even close. The people that he supported, right? Like the ones who were running for governor under the Trump banner, beat y'all. Senators beat y'all. State assembly people and Congress people beat y'all. So beat them at the ballot box. But of course, the only way you could do that is to be honest and have better policies and maybe perhaps not nominate a racist and an alleged rapist as a candidate or as a nominee. But I know that's a lot to ask for from Democrats. And that's why you're going to keep getting your butt whooped. I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, the reason I had to show that clip was just because treason, that was literal. It's on camera. It's literally right there, bruh. You know how long that trial would be? The trial would be as long as that damn clip. All right, let's everybody strap in. It's going to be a long year. Okay, and we're done. Wow, that was pretty open and shut. That's what would happen. And what was even crazier is that she asked a Democratic candidate to do it, like trying to cop out. So it would be okay if China did it on behalf of but this is always the issue, right? This is exactly what was the issue with Julian Assange. The Democrats lauded Julian Assange when he was exposing the Bush administration. Remember, the New York Times said he deserved the Pulitzer Prize. Somebody said he deserved the Nobel Prize. Organizations and media conglomerates were trying to give him awards left and right when he was exposing the Bush administration. And then they figured out, oh, damn, Assange isn't a partisan ally like we thought. You think, dummy? He's released. Why do you think he can't go to Russia? Because he's released information on every powerful government you can think of. Or he's helped to release that information. And that was the problem with Assange. It wasn't interference. It was because he was interfering, quote unquote, for the wrong team this time. Period. So that's why I wanted to show y'all that clip. We're gonna run through this last video. Now, might make you a little bit sick to your stomach, but I need y'all to bear with me. All right. I know I'm not sure if y'all heard about the Amy Cooper lady who called the cops on the black guy in Central Park. Man, it's crazy. Let's check this clip out.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me? I'm sorry. I'm in the ramble, and there is a man, African American. He has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my. I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the ramble. I don't know.
Thank you.
Man, that was wild. Scary. But unfortunately, it wasn't unexpected or unanticipated. This is okay. Let's just go take a step back really quick. Obviously she's wrong. I hope that there's no debate about this. I really do. Somebody somewhere might try to debate it. Because this is just how the world is in 2020. But I think that for the most part, everybody is in agreement that she was wrong, right? Okay, cool. But let's just take a step back. With confidence, she knew that she could, one, break the law, which, and by the way, in that area of Central Park, you're supposed to have a leash on your dog. As you could see, by the way the dog was acting, she literally had to choke the damn dog, which was wrong to begin with. She just wasn't paying attention. But the reason she was holding on so tight to the dog is because the dog was wilding out. It's probably why the black guy, look, black people, we generally try to mind our own business. This is what we're taught at a very young age. Mind your damn business. Mind your business, boy. Mind your business. This thing, except for in one scenario. Whose damn dog is this? It's just a thing. I used to be so scared of dogs when I was a kid. You always feel like the dogs only chase after black people when you're young. I don't know why. It just is what it felt like. But that's the only time we're like, hold up, wait a minute, whose dog is this? I'm not trying to get big. So she was breaking the law. The guy asked her to please abide by the law in this very public location for my safety. And she felt confident enough that she could call the cops, make up a lie, fake like she was being terrorized by a black guy, and then get him in trouble. She knew what would likely be the outcome if he wasn't recording, if we're being honest. If they showed up on that scene, he would be shot or immediately arrested, which would have, of course, maybe he would have been bailed out, but the financial burden would have been put on him, not her. She knew viscerally that if I call the cops, I've been taught, I know, because this is something that is it's one of those things that's like a truism. You know, but you're not allowed to say it, but you act upon it all the time. And what she knows to be true, like most white women, the cops are my personal militia to deploy whenever I see fit. When someone steps between me and my entitlement, I can call them whenever the hell I want to, and they will take my side. 98% of the time. Because I know what a lot of people like to say. Well, that's not, just because this situation happened to this black guy doesn't mean it was a racist act. Just because this situation happened to this black woman doesn't mean it's a racist act. But how come situations never happen to white women specifically? Have y'all ever noticed that? The one time that a white woman was killed by a cop that we can all remember was because it was a foreign national. Remember, she was Australian. She was in Minnesota and she was killed by a black person who was an African immigrant on top of that. And of course, he was immediately held accountable because it was a black man who killed a white woman who was a foreign national. But 99% of the time, you would never see a white woman killed or assaulted by a police officer, no matter who called the cops. And that's based off conditioning and a plethora of other things. But there's a reason she felt comfortable making that phone call. There's a reason she felt comfortable lying to the dispatch. There's a reason that she reacted the way she did. Like, why would you just react to someone asking you to put a dog on your, or a leash on your dog? Why would you react to that? Like what? Like that? That was like kind of like, okay, well, this was just went from 0 to 100. I don't understand. What's the issue? Why? Because how dare you, black man, tell me what to do? I'm allowed to break the law or bend the rules. It's you these laws are created for. See, I'm civilized, so I know when it's okay to break the law. I have good judgment. You were the savage these laws were created for. The police are my private militia that's meant to stomp you out. And when I call them, they'll believe whatever the hell I tell them to. You think that she just adopted that mindset because, well, I just feel like I'm special. You think it was her money that made her feel that way? Partially, but not likely. It wasn't her outfit. It wasn't like she was hanging out on the Upper West Side, so it wasn't the location. She made it clear why she felt like she could do this. Hi, there's an African American male recording me. Well, that's that's weird. I did not ask you the description yet, but okay. But she made sure to let the police know it was an African American male. Because she knows if you use that buzzword and you're a white woman, how the police handle that situation. That dude, like I said, if he wasn't recording, he was going to jail or he was going to be shot. What's even crazier about this is this is the part of the narrative I feel like is not being discussed. Did you see a MAGA hat on? Did you, with that country accent and that caricature of white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and Trump supporters that everyone claims are the only racist people in this country? Did you see any of that on? You see any of that paraphernalia? Did she look like the average Trump supporter? Not saying I don't know if she is, but I would probably bank on it that she was not a Trump supporter. You see that fake outrage? Pfft, that's Hillary Clinton ranting all over. I saw a super chat says probably voted for Pete Guaido. Probably. Or Elizabeth Warren. But like I've always said, I've been attacked for it, of course, but I just know the facts when I see them. People have no idea how racist the left can be. And the higher up the ladder you go, the most elitist of the left are the most racist. And they actively prevent black people and other minorities from becoming successful unless they assimilate and accept that racism for better or for worse. You want that job, you want that title, you want that position, cool, you're going to shut up and do what I tell you to do and never question me. And we'll use you to fulfill this quota. If I had to take a guess, I would say she's probably going to vote for Joe Biden this election in the general. That, am I stereotyping? A little bit. But the only reason I'm using this example as a stereotype is because y'all have stereotyped racists as these people who just walk around with Nazi symbols on their forehead and MAGA hats. Like, and that's it. If they're not like this, then they're probably not. And if they're not racist if they don't do this stuff, if they don't vote for Trump, if they don't wear MAGA hats, then they're not, especially if they're a Democrat. They can't be racist if they're Democrats, people. But I would I could almost venture to say that there are almost as many racists on the left as there are on the right. The left has just gotten really, really good at pretending that they're not racist. Glory, what's up? Malcolm X told us about these liberal foxes ages ago, 100%. Malcolm X told us, Martin Luther King told us, they were warning us. It's not, she felt like she could get away with it because people get away with it all the time. White people, white women specifically. This is a culture. Why do you think that white women call the police every time there's a problem, even when there's not really one? And black people spend most of their time avoiding the police, even if they haven't done anything wrong. I walk in the opposite direction. I walk on the other side of the street. My friends do the same. Whenever you're a black person in front of a cop, you literally feel guilty of doing nothing. Like, you don't even know what you're doing. Like, man, hold up, I don't got anything on me, do I? I'm not jaywalking, am I? This is like a visceral reaction. Black Lives Matter doesn't invite the cops to their protests. Women's March, ran by white women, invites cops to their protests. I know because I interviewed one, a cop, and he was kind of confused. He was like, this is a protest, but we were paid a lot of money to be here. So I'm not really sure what the details were, but that's why we're here. We can't pretend like these people don't exist. We can't pretend like it's a one-sided issue, like it's a left or a right issue. Because why do you think that y'all, some people, progressives specifically, don't even recognize when they're like their favorite journalists, their favorite leadership is engaging in passive aggressive racism all the time, which is the majority of the progressive movement. They'll try and crush people using racist dog whistles, engaging in pseudo-racist tactics. And if you believe in their words and some of the stuff that they say, then you've probably deified them to the point where you're not paying attention to the details, which is the devil is always in the details, especially when you're dealing with manipulators and social climbers. The world of academia is inherently racist. Or excuse me, I'm not gonna say it's racist, but it has a lot of implicit racial bias that is never discussed, and we're never going to really address it because it's never discussed. For example, I went to University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. It's just an amazing school. Like, would never probably go anywhere else for my undergrad. But with that being said, you start to notice a pattern. Black people are held to a different standard. Black men are held to a different standard because who is grading the papers? There's not a lot of black people that go into academia, people. When we go to college, our parents send us to college to get a goddamn job. You go into college to become a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, or for sports. You ain't got time to be playing around with these art majors. You ain't got time to be going to get your PhD. Who got PhD money, as my mother would say? But in all seriousness, you're going to college because you likely have generations of family that are leaning on you for support. Whether or not, if you're black, Latino, same thing. You very rarely see Latinos and black people, Arabs, Desi, maybe not so much Desi, but you just don't see it because we ain't got time to be playing with masters and PhDs for a non-guaranteed job and going into debt. So who do you see in the PhD programs and the master's programs? White people. Okay. Who are teaching assistants? White people. Who grade papers? White people. So if John Smith, and because we engaged at UNC, we participated in a program called grade deflation. We were only one of 3 schools that participated in it. UNC, Yale, and it was one other school. But if John Smith goes to you, so you got a paper, you can only have so many A's if your school engages in grade deflation. John Smith goes to you with their paper, but Maria Dominguez goes to you, and both of their papers were amazing. Well, the truth of the matter is, Maria Dominguez is just happy to be at a top 2 school. She's the first in her family to go to college. She is proud of what she achieves, and an A- is overachieving. Her family would see that and be ecstatic. Why would she argue about that? Why would she assume she did better? However, John Smith has been told by his family, oh, no, you don't accept A-, because that's not what you do. That's not what we do. You are entitled to the grade that you deserve, and you argue for it. And those type, nuclear white families kind of instill that confidence, especially in their men. And knowing that John Smith, because of his background, is more likely to challenge you than Maria Dominguez, because of her background, who do you think you're going to give the A to, and who do you think you're going to give the A- or B+ to? Because those are the teaching assistants are white, and they understand this. Do you know how many times I had to get my grade changed in college in subjects that, pat myself on the back here, that some would consider me experts in at this moment? And it wasn't because of some damn grammatical error. They would say, oh, you could have argued this. I'm like, I did argue it's right here. It's, I would have tests, people. I had a test where my friend literally used my notes to study for the exam because he was doing an internship and he didn't get a chance to put his notes together. It was a good friend, hooked him up. Like, hey, bro, just use my notes. Cool. We have almost the exact same answers, except for I actually got more right. He got a higher grade than me. Why? Because who grades the test? And oftentimes the professors have to stick beside and stand beside the decisions of their teaching assistants. I had to bring him to the office with me to be like, what the hell is this? And have him say, I used Niko's notes and these are almost the exact same answers. So I have no idea how we got 2 different grades, especially with me getting higher. That's when my grade got changed. Everything I just discussed with you on the side of academia, that's all leftist shit. But you would never know, because then the left would have to hold a mirror up to itself and acknowledge that it does have implicit racial bias and racism within that group. And these are the facts. Now, interestingly enough, black women in college are usually given like really high marks, and they actually are I mean, they do really well. I mean, it's not, they work harder than just about everybody else, to be honest with you, in college. Like, this is just a thing. At least at UNC it was a thing. Black women are extremely intelligent, but they got the marks that they deserve. But black men we always had issues with this when I was at UNC. And it wasn't like these people who were grading us were inherently racist, but they were inherently biased. And they knew what they could and could not get away with based off of how society is structured. So this woman in Central Park knew what she could and could not get away with based off of what society has showed her she can, despite how people want to pretend otherwise. Interestingly enough, I haven't seen any MAGA people arguing about the fact that this woman should be arrested. It's kind of crazy. Nobody's like, oh man, we should see more of the video. We should see more of the video before we start jumping to conclusions. None of that this time, huh? Why? Because she's clearly a liberal. There's a different type of entitlement when it comes to liberals, right? You can just smell it. You can see it you can smell it through the camera. There's a different type of entitlement when it comes to elitist liberals. So they're like, about time somebody else got called racist for once. Gonna sit back and enjoy this. Nobody wanted to see extra footage? Well, her business didn't want to see extra footage either because she got fired. I know. I can't believe it either. She actually got fired. Now, let's be honest, everybody. I'm not sure if she got fired because of her treatment of the black guy or because of her treatment of the dog. But if her boss is white, it's probably because of the treatment of the dog. Because that's the only time white people care about how other white people treat anyone else. White people, white elites treat their dogs generally better than they treat black people. Being honest here. Obama was lucky because I'm sure with Joe Biden, between Obama's dog and Obama himself, Joe Biden was having to make some life or death choices every day about whose ass to kiss and who to defend on a daily basis. Every time that dog pissed on the carpet of the Oval Office and Obama went to spank him, he was probably looking at him like, I can't hit the president, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to take this one. Don't worry, I got you. I'm gonna call Peter as soon as this motherfucker gets out of office. But in all seriousness, I'm glad she was held accountable. Now she needs to be held accountable by law enforcement because she literally lied. She faked being in trouble. Called 911, faked being in trouble for a false alarm. That is illegal. And in New York, it's super illegal. It's a thing. It's like a really big problem. So, you know what that means. And it's funny because, like I said, she called the cops because somebody called her out for breaking the law. So she breaks the law by faking a call to the cops and claiming someone else is actually potentially breaking the law. But she forgot that she was caught on video breaking the law. So not only is she fired from her job, but hey, every now and then you got to make an example out of somebody. And I think she should be the example. The NYPD should charge her, or the city of New York should charge her for everything that she was guilty of in that video. Everything. Let her spend her money to defend herself, just like black people have had to do for shit that we are not even caught for doing. We're not found guilty of doing, but we're just suspected of doing. And the financial burden always falls on us. So let that shit fall on her. Make her defend herself, even though she was clearly guilty. Unfortunately, I don't know if they'll be able to get away with calling it a hate crime. I don't know. Maybe the right attorney could argue it. But I would love to see somebody at least challenge the idea that that was a hate crime. But, before I go, like I said, the moral of the story that I hope everyone takes away from all of this. Yeah, the video was shocking. Yeah, the way she reacted was crazy. Yeah, the fact that that man's life was put in danger was horrific. And the way that she was choking that damn dog out, well, I wanted to throat chop her. Dog don't even like her either. You can tell the dog don't like her. But the most important thing that you should take away from that video is her confidence that she could get away with everything she was doing and the entitlement there. Me and my friends and my wife were walking down South Beach one day about 10, 11 in the morning, walking down the boardwalk thing that they got. This is like in the middle of spring break, so one of the busiest times of the year. This white woman was running at jogging at 11 a.m. with her big ass German Shepherd and a twin stroller, twins, with her headphones in. When she ran past us, do you think she said, "Excuse me"? No. Do you think she said sorry? No. Why? because there is a certain group of society that feels entitled to our spaces. It's black men who move when they see white women in an elevator. We move to the corner, not them. They stand right in the goddamn middle. Test it. Dead ass serious. Try it out. Go in an elevator with a white person. Hell, specifically a white woman. But go in the elevator and you stand in the corner. If you're a black person, it doesn't work. You can still probably see them stand in the middle. But if you're a black person, go in the elevator. You go stand in the corner as we always do. Watch them. Almost no matter how many people are on the elevator, like it's like 3 or 4 of them, they will stand right center in the middle because that is their space. You are just borrowing it. And that's facts. So, with that being said, everybody, appreciate you all sticking around. Like I said, thank you all for the well wishes. We are back. All right, so we'll be back all week. Got some breaking news coming out tomorrow about the Green Party and Howie Hawkins campaign. Ooh, there's some crazy stuff too. So make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. We're gonna go live at about 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to tune into that. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, always remember more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. If you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button. Want access to members only live streams, behind the scenes footage, and other premium content? Well, you can endorse us on Rockfin Premium, become a patron through Patreon, or you can sign up for the MCSC Premium membership through YouTube. All the links are in the description below. But hey, more than anything else,
More than anything else,
More than anything else,
More than anything else.
always remember,
Find your balance.
find your balance.
find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.
peace.